Alright, so we're back to this stupid thing. For those that might not know why I'm referring to this as a stupid thing, this has been plaguing me since I got it. Just as a recap, because I know you guys probably have not necessarily been here since day one, but at some point I bought myself a Commodore 64 to fix up, not exactly knowing what I was doing or anything like that, and it was getting no picture or anything, and I did the typical troubleshooting and everything, couldn't even get a picture out of it. Turns out it was just a bad VIC-2, which is a shame because it was a ceramic VIC-2, but going online trying to find a replacement VIC-2, it seemed like they were about the same price as just a 4-parts C64, which is what this is. So I stole the VIC-2 from this to put into that system. Got it working, all the tests, everything. Also needed to replace the PLA, apparently. That's working. That's it. But I still wanted to try to get this working, so I went and I was able to find a relatively affordable VIC-2 for this one. Installed it, tried to troubleshoot. Was getting a black screen with a white line on the edge, which means that there was video going out, but it wasn't doing much of anything else. So I put a dead test cartridge in, and it was pointing me to U9. Although originally I had mistakenly replaced a U12, but I replaced U9 and I was still not getting a picture. This board came damaged. The kernel ROM had a chip in, although it was a superficial chip, but it looked like someone had attempted to pry the chip out. I don't know if they thought it was in a socket. It was not. In fact, most of the chips on this board were not socketed except for, well, the VIC-2. That's it. So they damaged the board. I fixed the trace and got a replacement kernel ROM just in case. Nothing worked. I tried replacing chips and everything because the dead test kept flashing the number of times to suggest U9. I replaced the memory. I swapped memory around to see if the error would change to a different socket. It was not. And I know the dead test isn't all end all be all or anything like that, but still could not get it working. And so I kind of shelved it for a while, came back to it at some point, tried some more things, got to the point where basically I noticed that there were other damaged traces. Some were almost certainly done by me when I went and put sockets in and things like that, but others were done probably by one of the previous owners or owner or what have you. There are some bodge wires on here and everything. It's not pretty, but I still could not get it to work. Now, you may be wondering why I have some of the RAM installed and other not. Well, when I was fixing the 5150 and I bought, a bunch of supposedly new old stock RAM on eBay, and I know that that doesn't necessarily mean it's working or anything. It could be new old stock, just defective. Who knows? There were a total of 4. Well, there were actually 5 bad chips that they gave me. So I took 4 of them from here and installed them. We're still getting a memory error. And I don't know if I have it anywhere. I don't think so because I cleaned up a little bit around here, although you couldn't tell if you looked at it right now. But one of the memory chips was actually also bad. In fact, oh no, here it is. It was this Mitsubishi chip here. I think it's a Mitsubishi chip. Yeah, and was not testing correctly or anything, which is weird because I had tested it before using the RAM tester that I've got. Right here. And when I initially did the diagnosis and everything, that tested fine. So at some point during my repairs, that chip failed either because of me or just age or what have you. So I'm really hoping that that's the only thing that's really wrong with this at this point. I do have all the other chips up, but you don't need them for a dead test. The only thing you need is the CPU, I think the PLA, you need RAM, and you need a VIC-2. Everything else, the logic chips I think have to be there too, but the main ones, the CIAs, the ROMs, and the SID chip, you don't need those to do a dead test. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to repopulate these 4 sockets here. And I'm going to see if we can't get this stupid thing working finally. I'm hoping we can. Otherwise, I'm going to be done with this project and I'm just going to keep this for spare parts. So let's go ahead and get some RAM in here. Now, again, I'm hoping that this is just old stock. I don't remember at this point. These are Texas Instruments chips, but they're 15 nanosecond. The ones that are installed are 20. I don't think that matters a whole lot with the C64. So I'm going to try to just put these 4 in. If it still isn't working, then I'm going to swap out the other 4 that are in there, and we'll go from there. Let's see. I need 4 of these. Is this going to... Really? It's like stuck in there? Apparently it's stuck. Let me see if I can fix that. All right. Managed to get them out, fortunately. So zoom in, and by zoom in I mean bring the camera mount a little lower here. That should be in focus. Let's see if I have to straighten these pins at all or not. Maybe ever so slightly. All right, so those are in. They're all in the correct orientation. Go ahead and I'm going to hook this up and I'm going to get the dead test out and we'll see if we can get this going or not. Dead test is in. Got a power cable connected. Fingers crossed, but with all the luck that I've had with it, I'm not expecting much. All right, let's see. Oh, still a black screen with a flashing white box. Still suggesting that it's U9. What the heck could it still be? Because I know the VIC-2 works. I've tested it on my working system, as is the CPU. The PLA, I'm not going to try another PLA just in case. I think I've got another spare. Same thing. Just one flash per second, which denotes that it's more than likely U9. And it's not like it's flashing 8 times sequentially and stopping. It's literally just flash, flash, flash. So at this point, I really don't know what else it could be. So I decided to do another RAM test. This one's bad. But it wasn't in U9, but it could still have been throwing everything off. And I did pop all the other chips. I just wanted to turn it on just to see if it would work in the event that my dead test cartridge is dead. So, but I'm going to finish testing the rest of this RAM and we'll see. All right, and they all test fine. So I'm testing the last chip that I've got just in case, but let me see what happens. Probably nothing. Oh my God, I have a screen. It's not accurate. There might be issues with some of the ROMs. I may have to reseat them and stuff, but there's a screen. This is the first time that I've had anything on this other than a black screen. And I'm going to put the dead test back in and see. Oh, and the last RAM chip passed. Look at that. So I'm going to put the dead test back in. I'm going to see what we can come up with. So far, so good because it's still a dark screen. This is the first time I've had the dead test run on here successfully. Again, I have not had this working since I got it. And at some point it got worse because I had damaged the trace by the PLA between the PLA and the CPU. Oh, that's right. Let me make sure I've got all the ROMs in the right spot. 226, 227, 225. And again, this replacement kernel ROM that I got might not work. So who knows? Sound test isn't going to work because there's no SID chip installed. And yeah, I mean, CIAs are in sync, so that's a good sign. All right, I'm going to shut this off and I'm going to reseat these ROMs. Now it looks like here on the character ROM, it's going to be tough to see on camera, I think, but there's a little tiny bit of corrosion on the third pin over here. Well, I guess that would be pin 10. So I'm hoping that that's okay, because I don't have any additional ROMs available and I have no way of making them at this time. But the fact that I've got it working this far, do I invest any more money into it? Or do I just say, you know what, I've put enough into it, why waste any more money? I don't know. Depends how much these ROMs are going to cost, I suppose. Let's see. Still coming up like that. But I do have other diagnostic cartridges we can try along with harnesses. I'm going to get that set up. Okay, here's a diagnostic cartridge, but as you can see, it's not exactly doing anything. I mean, you can see the outline here. And again, I mean, this ROM cartridge may rely on the character ROM, and if that's having issues, I wonder, let me try popping that back out just to see what happens. Yeah, although is that supposed to happen without the character ROM in there? Because I'm pretty sure I don't need the basic ROM installed. Let me remove that too, just in case. I don't remember if on my regular C64, the one that works, if everything is socketed or not. I'm going to open up my working C64 and I'm going to see if the chips are socketed. If they are, swap them in and just see what happens. So, all right, it's a different day for me at least, and I brought down my working C64. Unfortunately, 2 of the ROMs are not socketed, so I could try to desolder these, but I really don't want to take any chances of damaging anything. So I won't be able to test them, unfortunately, but I do have the CIAs, which could potentially be part of the problem. So I've got those. And again, I've already tested these types of PLA replacements, the GAL PLAs, because I bought them like as a set. I bought them, I think they came 3 of them. And this one works, the other 2 work, it's fine. I'm not going to take these CIAs and put them into the 64 board that I'm trying to fix. I'm going to do the opposite. Just in case that board is damaging chips, I don't want to also damage these. The kernel ROM, I guess I could probably swap that out too, but I really don't think that's the issue. If it's one of the ROMs, it's almost definitely going to be the character ROM, but who knows? We'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these out and take those chips from the board that I'm trying to fix up, and we'll see. All right, so I've got the CIAs from the other board. Let's go ahead and install them. I also put some dioxide in the sockets to help give them a fighting chance, and we'll take the replacement kernel just to see. I'm not going to worry about the CPU or the VIC or the SID just because. Let me go ahead and we'll plug this in. And yes, I did hook it up to AV this time. No image. Now this was working, so one of these is preventing it from starting up. Is it the CIAs or the kernel? Interesting. Put the original kernel back in. There. I do have a picture. I mean, I have a black screen. That's interesting. We'll leave it up, though, for a bit. Maybe it just needs a minute. It hasn't been turned on in a while. And then again, it wouldn't be beyond my luck that it decided to just die all of a sudden. So I'm not getting anything. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the CIAs next and put the original ones back in just to see. Maybe I'll do one at a time. See if I get any different results on screen or not. Plug it back in. Nothing. Chips are getting warm though, so they are getting some use. I'm going to remove the SID just in case, since that is one of the common failure points. Another crusty chip. I really didn't want to be troubleshooting 2 C64s in this video, but nothing. Let me try the other CIA. So I've got the original CIAs in, the original kernel ROM, and it's still nothing on screen. I've got a dead test in. I'm not getting anything on screen. So I know I said I wasn't going to, but I swapped the chips over from the formerly working board to the one that I've been trying to fix, at least the CPU, the kernel, and the 2 CIAs, and I'm back at the same garbled basic screen, but they work. So something else is going on with the board that I originally thought was working. Not sure what that could be. I'm going to try taking the VIC from here, putting it in there, see what happens. Okay, so I've got the VIC2 as well as the CPU and the CIAs from the board that we were trying to fix. And I think I have another fried VIC2, unfortunately, or dead one, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to try to figure out what, if anything, happened to this VIC2, and which is a bummer, because the funny thing is that this VIC2 originally came from the board I'm trying to repair, and I got that to try to get this one working. So, yeah, fun times, huh? Just in case, so I kind of want to run a dead test on this just to make sure that we don't have any issues or anything. So I'll let this run, and I'll show you guys the results. I mean, that's a good sign. So at least the one that was originally working is now working again, but I've got a VIC2 issue, and it's not like I've got a stockpile of these anywhere. Let me see what I can come up with. I'm going to give my hopefully working C64 interrupt bad. That could just be one of these loopback adapters. These adapters, I don't believe, are for this specific diagnostic, and it's also possible that I need to clean the contacts off, although I've got to double check. Sound was working, so I know that that's good. Let me try the other diag card that I'm pretty sure is supposed to go with this here as soon as I can find out what I did with it. This is this 586220. It kind of looks like a dead test, but it's a lot more in depth and everything. I just want to make sure that what I thought was my working C64 and is now hopefully working again is in fact working again. There's a lot of jail bars. I don't know if it's easy to see on camera. There's definitely jail bars on screen, but I think that's a known issue. There's ways to clean it up with some modern enhancements and everything. So PLA's good, RAM's good, color I'm probably good, especially since I can actually see color. Cassette, yeah, so I've got to clean the contacts off on these on here, but more than likely this is probably fine. So cool. Let's get back to the busted one and see what I can come up with. Okay, so for shits and giggles, I put the VIC2 from the quote-unquote working C64, the one we thought that wasn't working, back into the board that it originally came in, and I'm getting a display. Can someone make any sense of that? Is it possible there was some corrosion in the socket, and by just removing the chip and putting the other VIC2 in there, it scrapes some of it away? It's possible, but still don't know what's going on with this. It's not the CIAs, because I've swapped those back and forth and swapped left and right and everything, and that hasn't changed anything. So I'm pretty sure it's probably the character ROM, and I don't know if I can do anything about that right now because I don't have a replacement ROM. So I'm going to go online and see if I can get a replacement ROM for that. Someone already pre-burned, or maybe a modern replacement or something like that, and see if I can't figure this issue out. But if that doesn't take care of it, I think I'm going to be done, because of the fact that I don't want to keep putting time and money into something that may not have a fix for it. There could be some sort of microscopic trace damage, crack in the board that's causing this, and there's not going to be much I can do about it. I'm pushing on the chips. I don't see any changes in anything. At the very least, this could become a 4-parts board, since my once again working C64 is probably going to need them at some point. So I could just say that, this is for spare parts, and that's it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Spare parts are getting harder and harder to come by, so it's not a bad idea to have them. I have not done any recapping or anything of this board, and I know everyone's, just replace the caps, maybe it'll fix it. Maybe it won't, and the amount of time I have to put into replacing them is just not worth it. If you are, in trying to get into retro and everything and getting frustrated with repairs and putting money into something, take a breath, take a breather, take some time off, weeks, months, years, whatever, and then maybe revisit it, because along the way you may come up with another, in this case, I say C64, maybe come across another C64 board that isn't working, but maybe you can swap parts around and make one working system out of it. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. Perfectly okay, and no one's going to fault you if you go that route. So, but I think I'm going to leave that for now. I know, kind of like a, didn't fix anything really. Well, technically I did. Technically I fixed my other boards. So, but I will revisit this maybe at some point in the future. I guess I'm going to go look and see if I can get a replacement character ROM. If they're not super expensive, I'll order one and have it in, and then we'll do an update on this and see if we can get this working. If not, then you may never see this board again unless I need spare parts. So. Give me some tips, suggestions, whatever in the comments if you have any comments, stories, etc. Otherwise, thanks all. I'll catch you later.